Right, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a tag. Now this is, I can't remember what size of tag. Let me just double check. It's one of the journaling tags. I can't remember. I think it's number 10 size. So it's not the biggest one that range do, but it's a good size to have a play with your stamps and things on. So we're going to use some of our heraldic stamps. We might bring in some of the pocket watch and postcard stamps as well, and we're going to do a real mishmash. This was sort of inspired by Janie's tag that she did. So what I've got is I've got some Dylusions paint here, and I've also got the corresponding ink sprays, okay, that I've just dropped. So we're going to have a bit of a go, a bit of a play with the stamps, and we'll also be bringing in the templates and a few other bits. So bear with me, because you know, who knows how it'll go. Right, okie doke. So I'm going to put some Dylusions paint on my mat. Now the reason, I have to say, one of the reasons it's really important to use Dylusions paint if you are going to plan to use some of the ink sprays is because it won't resist the spray. If you use something like distress paint, for example, it will then resist the spray and you'll get that sort of bubbly texture. Not always necessarily a bad thing, but if it's not what you're after, then it's not what you want, is it? Okay, so I'm just going to wipe any excess off that. Then I'm going to go on with my bright pink. So this is the bubblegum pink. I know you guys sometimes like to know colours. Okay, so I'm just going to add in a little bit. I might go a little bit of an opposite way, maybe up there too. I'm just building up the background with my brayer. It's just a little mini one. So yeah, I'm just building that up. Okie dokie, and then I'm going to put on some of the Dirty Martini. Okay, but before I do that, actually, well, I've already put it on my mat, I'm going to give this a quick waft with the old heat tool. The reason being, if you are using ink sprays and all that sort of thing, if you mix your three primary colours, which are blue, red and yellow, you do get brown. Okay, so for example, in those two you've obviously got red and blue and yellow, so you mix those two together, you get brown. Okay, again, not always a bad thing, but if you don't want it, it's not good. So that's why I just did a little dry between layers, so that when I put the green on, it's actually green and not brown. Here we go. Oh, folded that up, no panic. And then we've got a wicked sort of backgroundy tag. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with a blending tool and just work in some pink around there, so it's all sort of coming in. But what you can also do, I might actually just pick up a little bit of yellow to go in there. There you go, that's a bit more of a solid colour. But what you can also do then is work around the outside of your tag, okay, to sort of bring it all together in a sort of more cohesive manner. So I think I'm going to go with the pink with my blending tool. Not enough quite left at the minute. I'm going to go on with my pink. I'm going to go around the edge, just blend that in to bring it to it. So this is going to be a lot more pink than I planned, but I'm not sure that's necessarily a bad thing. Okay, so I'm going to go with that, and then I'm going to go another quick waft with my heat tool. Okay, for my paints, I do like to work on the non-stick craft sheets because I just think the paint comes off easier, and then it saves. And then I've got my blending mat underneath for when I want to do blendy inks. You see, there is a plan. I know it doesn't always seem like it, but there is a plan. Right, so I'm just going to put a little bit more of my lemon zest on there, and I'm going to get another blending tool with a foam, because then I'm going to work through my distressed diamonds. Okay, I'm just going to work that into my foam. Put my distressed diamonds onto there. And that's just awesome. And really have some fun with your backgrounds, you know, because we've also got some distressed diamonds in the Dinkables as well, which is slightly smaller, so you can mix and match those together and really have fun with, so that you've got the different sizes. Okay, again, but what's really fun with these, so you've got your blending foam, just do some little circles. Aren't they cool? Okay, so these are all things you can have a plate, you can do in your journal. You know, this could be a background paper for a card. Just mix it up. Absolutely fab. Okay, so just gonna give that another waft with my heat tool, and then I'm going to bring in some white. Okay, so for that I'm actually going to get my gesso out. Okay, and I'm going to use, oh hello, can't pick it up now. I'm actually going to use my palette knife. Just stuck my finger in the green. Not that one, not that one, that one. And I'm going to use some of my gesso through here onto, I'm not even sure I'm going to use my sprays now, because I really like how that came together. But if you're not sure, then it's best to go on here. So that's with our damask. I'll lift that off. I'll splodge underneath a little bit, but that's okay. You've still got the dimension. There. Very, very pretty. Okay, so those do need to be wiped off as soon as possible. Little tip. Okay. So I'm just going to give that another quick dry with my heat tool. Okay, and then we're going to start layering up some stamps. Okay. Now you can leave this to dry. In fairness, I normally would. But I'm trying to do as much as possible in real time. So you can say if it starts to take too long, I might just do a little come back to me in a second job. Okay. I'm going to go along here. So it's just a case of drying that gesso. Do you know what? I am going to put my distressed diamonds back on. And I'm going to get my Dirty Martini spray. Just spray that through there. I just needed something else. So what I do with this is I get one of my journals that I'm currently working in, of which I have several, and I'll just slide that between the pages, and that's the start of a journal page. Okay, so back to it. I just wanted some more of those diamonds on, so you can see that the paint doesn't resist. So if you see how the gesso sort of resists it a little bit and it pulls, but the Dylusions paint doesn't. And that's why I like using Dylusions paint, even if I might be using sprays. Do you know what I mean? It's a good practice to get into. Here we go. Right. Okay, so let me just move those to the side a little bit. I'm going to move my non-stick craft sheet out of the way, and then I've got a nice clean surface to work on which is awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go for, first of all, I'm going to go for, I've got gesso on my crowns. That's not good, is it? I'm going to go for the crowns. Now, all of these are individuals, and these are in the big bundle, so we're just going to put them without versifying. These are really detailed and they look absolutely beautiful. Heat embossed too. So I'm just going to put them onto there, and then I might do those two. In fact, just that one in that corner. Okay, so you can see they've got loads and loads of detail. So if you are embossing them, I would say use a superfine detail powder, because just to make sure you get all of that detail out, basically. Like I say, this tag's sort of inspired by Jane's one. It's already gone off on a tangent compared to that, but that's why we're here. You know, we're here to give the inspiration, give you a leaping off point, for you to have a go. But that doesn't mean it has to be the same. It doesn't mean it even has to be close to the same, in all honesty. And then I'm going to take my heraldic banner. Now, this is a really useful background stamp, but you have got elements you can pick out if you want to make a feature of it. So, you know, it's really a case of just playing with it, seeing which bits you like to use. I don't always use the whole thing. I do like to, you know what, I am going to freehand that, because it's got that sort of heraldic text, and then it's got the lion's head, and then it's got this border down the side. So there is quite a lot you can do with it in terms of just using it to create a background and what have you. So you've got that there, and you can also obviously stamp it in a corresponding colour and use it that way. So there's loads you can do with that. Alrighty, because I do have one of the big Jubilee crowns that we are going to put on here, because again you can see that big crown, it's got so much detail, lots to go and do. So yeah, I think that one's going to go about there, and we'll come up with the sentiment using the font as well. Now, something Jane's done, and this is something I absolutely love to do, because in your font, let me get it to show you. So in your font you've got numbers and those as well, which means you can put together any sentiment you want, really. So what I'm going to do is but I do like random numbers. You know, we've done backgrounds with random numbers, because they are just fun, and it's something I've been doing more of lately. So I'm just going to take these number 7s, I'm going to put those in a few random places, and then we'll get some zeros. And what I like is the little zeros got like a little dot in the middle, so we're going to put that in various places. And then number 3, I always think a number 3 looks nice, don't ask me why, I just like a number 3, you know, it's just pretty. So we're going to keep adding a few of those in, and then I'll go with the number 5. As we're sticking with the odd numbers, we might as well keep going. Okay, so I'm going to give that another quick blast with the heat tool, because we've put our VersaFine on top of the paint, so we want to make sure that's dry before we start adding in anything else. I am going to add in some white highlights with my white pen. I don't know if I'll have time for this in the demo, so what I'll do is I'll make sure that there is a picture of it if I don't get time to do the white for this. Right, because what I also want to do, I've lost my piece of black card, so just allow me to stand up ever so gracefully. Okay, is I want to layer this up, because I think you'll agree, if you, with the black stamping on there, the black layer just makes it pop. And if anything else, I also think it makes the white gesso from the damask pop out as well. So I'm just going to grab, oh sorry, can't reach it, my red tape. And so we'll do my red tape. Do you know what? I was going to add so much more into this, wasn't I? I was going to use the postcard and the screw heads. I'm starting to think I should have gone for the bigger tag. I was worried I wouldn't be able to fill it in the time, but I'm starting to think that would have been wise. Well, it's okay. And the tape's just had a little bit of a... There we go. Okay. So we'll peel that off. And then we're going to lay this onto a black layer here. So you can see, I mean, Jane's tag is got really yellows and blues, and the ones I've done is really sort of, it's really gone really pink and orange. Wasn't what I was expecting. Not a bad thing at all, but sometimes, well, I say sometimes, I'm not sure anything that I can remember making in recent times anyway is exactly how I envisaged it. But again, that can sometimes be a good thing. Okay, so again, this is these sort of what we've been playing with here, you know, applying the paint with the brayer, adding in spritz template detail with the inkables, would look absolutely great in your journal. Okay, before I move on to the next section, I am going to very quickly and with obvious smoothness plug in my hot glue gun, because I'm going to want to stick some things down with that. Okay, so that's with our heraldics on there. Now what I want to do is I want to add on a sentiment and my crown, which I've actually decided is going to go right across the top there, because I think that makes a real feature of it. So what I'm going to do, I bought myself a big bag of the Sisal fibres, and now I'm putting them everywhere because I absolutely love them. So I'm going to put some of these. Now if you wanted to change the colour of these, you could spritz if you've got the pale ones like I've got, you can spritz them with your dilution sprays. They're absolutely great. So what I'm going to do is that's going to go under there, just to give a little bit of texture popping out. I might spread it out a little bit more actually. Okay, coming out from there. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. But what we're going to do is we're going to work on a sentiment while we're waiting for my hot glue to heat up. Heat up. Okay, so like I was saying, because you've got the full alphabet, and like I say, you have got an exclamation point and a question mark as well. So, you know, there is lots of things you can do with that. Alright, so I am going to put, what shall I put? See, I've said that now, I'm going to put, and then that sort of committed me, isn't it? Well, I'm thinking I'm going to take my crowns off my Border Super Skinny Slim. These should be on the website too, your Super Skinny Slims, and you've got 4 sizes in there. So this is the one I use for borders. So for example, in the other set where you've got your Roman numerals, that will fit along your border. This is a great stamp. I had it here ready, and like I say, there was so much I wanted to put on here, and I filled it up before I noticed. Right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on craft, because that's a good word, we like that one. So we're going to put on craft. go. And I'm going to take a risk here, because at the time of this filming video, that's showing your age, isn't it? I don't know who's in the studio with us today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a risk, and this is a really big risk, so bear with me. And it is going to be Craft Queen. Okay, so this is a really big risk. I could be setting myself up for a fall. This is for whoever's in the studio with us today. They are a Craft Queen, regardless of what they want to be. Okay, now, with your alphabet, obviously you only have one E. Sorry, I should be doing that a bit further up there, shouldn't I? There is only one E, because it's, you know, just an uppercase alphabet. But what I like to do is find a letter that's about the same width, put that in the gap, okay? So that's our Queen, spelt very badly right now, but that's alright, don't worry. I've put my hen upside down as well. I feel really bad. You know it's supposed to need to be a Craft King now. I just don't know. So, Queen. What you do is you ink up to your E, and then up to your N. Take that letter out. You don't even have to worry about making sure it's clean. Take that letter out. Put it on there. Take your other letters off. Ink your next E. Craft Queen. Well, that says Queen Craft at the minute, but it will say Craft Queen. Don't worry. Alright. So then we'll take that one off, and then that one. Now, because the crown is black and white, I'm going to keep the sentiments black and white, I think. But I think what I need to do, I might take a little bit more off them. I might trim them just a little bit more. Okay. She says, this is so easy. Do it nearest me, then it is actually easy. Can't believe I made that sort of leap. Craft Queen. Okie dokie. Here we go. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and snip into the middle to turn these into flags. This one is not a straight line, it was up here, but that's okay. You know when you just feel like you should have gone for king, and I just don't know. Okay, so I'm just going to roll these slightly, so they've got a little bit of dimension about them. And then we're going to glue it all down. Okay, so I've got my hot glue gun here. And first of all, I'm going to put my sisal on, and then I'm going to put quite a bit on because I want this to be still quite raised in the middle. My Jubilee crown. And like I say, I mean the detail in that is just lovely, and I think with the other crowns coming in behind it, you know, that you can see here, absolutely beautiful. And then for our craft queen, whoever that may be today. We're gonna put that there. Okie dokie, so let me lift that out of the way. I'm going to find some ribbon to go in that as well. But, there we go. I think you'll agree, guys, you know, using, I can probably zoom you in a little bit actually. No, you're right there because of the size of that tag. Using your heraldics, you know, with your alphas, you can create a fantastic background and then bring in the other elements. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pass you back to the studio and I'm going to go in and do some highlighting with my wet white pen, and I'll have that all white penned up and I'll put a picture on the Facebook page. Alright guys, thank you.